Announcements none. Papers have been laid. Private notice question none. Questions addressed to the Honourable Prime Minister.
Honourable Tour.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. B 1706.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the limits of the port are specified in the schedule to the Ports Act. The port land area of an extent of around 330 hectares includes the following three operational terminals and key facilities. Terminal 1, which comprises multi-purpose quays A to E, having a total length of about 630 meters, together with the storage area of around 1 hectare and the fish berths at Trou Fanfaron of 345 meters long. Terminal 2, consisting of Quay 1, which is 123 meters long, and multi-purpose quays 2 to 4, having a total length of 550 meters with a storage area of 14.6 hectares, and shed 3, having an area of 6,000 square meters. Terminal 3, comprising a 800-meter long quay and container storage around area of 34.5 hectares. Bulk sugar terminal comprising a quay of about 210 meters long and 2 storage sheds. Cruise jetty, which is 124 meters long, and oil jetty of about 270 meters where petroleum tankers are unloaded. Section 13B of the Police Act provides that the Commissioner of Police may, where he considers it necessary or expedient in the interest of public safety or public order, order that special measures be taken to control the movement and conduct of persons in any area, and by order, declare that area to be a restricted area. I'm informed that the Restricted Areas Port Area Order 1994 was made by the Commissioner of Police on 5th of September 1994 to specify 25 restricted areas of the port. The order provides that no person shall enter or leave any restricted area unless he is in possession of a permit. The order further provides that any person who, 1, unlawfully enters or leaves any restricted area, 2, is found in any restricted area without lawful authority, or 3, contravenes any condition attached to the permit, shall commit an offense and shall be liable to the penalties specified in Section 24 of the Police Act. To that effect, any person who commits an offense under the Police Act shall, on conviction, be liable to a fine not exceeding 50,000 rupees and to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 5 years. The order further provides that the police may arrest and remove from any restricted area any person who has committed such an offense. The schedule to the order was subsequently revoked on 31st October 2012 and replaced by a new schedule specifying 29 restricted areas, including the Mauritius Container Terminal, SSR Container Terminal, all commercial quays of the port, oil jetty, and petrol and oil bulk depot. Mr. Speaker, sir, Regulation 226 of the Ports Operations and Safety Regulations 2005 provides that no person shall enter or remain in any part of the port premises or bring any vehicle into the port premises unless he is in possession of a valid pass issued by the Mauritius Ports Authority with respect to that person and vehicle. Additionally, Regulation 28 of the Port Security Regulations 2021 provides that no person shall have or be given access to, enter or remain inside a port restricted area or restricted zone unless he is in possession of a valid pass issued under Regulation 226 of the Ports Operations and Safety Regulations of 2005. Moreover, Regulation 29 of the Ports Security Regulations 2021 with respect to access to port restricted areas and restricted zones provides as follows, and I quote, Section 1, where a person wishes to enter or remain inside a port restricted area or a restricted zone at security level 1, the following control mechanisms should be in place. A, verification of access passes and the identity of the person. B, the person may be accompanied by an authorized person, including an employee of the authority or the port facility operator being visited. C, where the person brings a vehicle into the restricted area or restricted zone, he shall display a valid vehicle pass issued under Regulation 226 of the Ports Operations and Safety Regulations 2005 on the vehicle. D, persons, personal effects, vehicles, and their contents are subjected to a search by the Police and Customs Department. E, the National Coast Guard shall provide waterside security. F, a vessel master or the agent of a vessel shall provide the port facility operator with the pre-arrival documents, including the crew list and passenger list specified in Regulation 15 of the Ports Operations and Safety Regulations 2005. And G, where he is a crew member or passenger who exits the gate, he shall not re-enter unless he shows a photo identification document which the police officer on duty shall check against the crew list of or passenger list. Unquote. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Port Louis Harbour operates at 3 levels of security, as defined under Regulation 2 of the Port Security Regulations 2021, and I quote, subparagraph H, security level 1 means the security level for which minimum appropriate protective security measures shall be maintained at all times. I, security level 2 means the security level for which appropriate additional protective security measures shall be maintained for a limited period of time as a result of heightened risk of a security incident. J, security level 3, means the security level for which further specific protective security measures shall be maintained for a limited period of time when a security incident is probable or imminent, even if it is not possible to identify the specific target. Unquote. Accordingly, any person seeking authorization to enter the restricted areas for the purpose of business or visit needs to apply to the Access Pass Office of the Mauritius Ports Authority. The requirements to obtain an access pass are defined in the standard operating procedures. Passes are issued on a need-to-go basis for the purpose of carrying out an officially recognized task in any part of the port restricted area. These passes are issued against payment on either a yearly basis for employees or other stakeholders operating the port, or a temporary basis issued daily, weekly, or monthly, depending on the nature of the work. These passes, which are issued to both persons and vehicles under Regulation 225 and 226 of the Ports Operations and Safety Regulations 2005, must be displayed conspicuously for easy identification by the police or the Mauritius Port Authority at the gates and during random checks. an access pass does not confer the right of entry to any port restricted area. Depending on the security threat level, access to a port restricted area may be denied to a person or vehicle, though in possession of access passes. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am further informed that in order to ensure effective security control of access to the restricted operational areas within the port, in June 2017, a joint working agreement was signed by the Port Police, the Mauritius Ports Authority, the Cargo Handling Corporation Limited, and the Mauritius Revenue Authority. The agreement defines the specific roles and responsibilities of each stakeholder in the control of gate posts leading to the restricted areas as specified in the schedule to the Restricted Areas Port Area Order 1994. According to the agreement, the gates of the two terminals under the responsibility of the Cargo Handling Corporation Limited are controlled by the latter to ensure that only authorized persons and vehicles are given access. The Cargo Handling Corporation Limited has, however, enlisted the services of police officers on extra duty for access control at the said terminals. Moreover, under this agreement, the police is responsible to perform stop and check of suspicious persons and vehicles entering and leaving the port area, assist customs officer in enforcing relevant legislation, ensure safety and security of posts by performing armed sentry, forfeit prohibited goods and initiate actions accordingly, and perform any other duties as established by the Police Act. Furthermore, regular joint patrols are carried out in the whole port area, including the terminals, to carry out security check. In addition, armed barriers have been installed at the entrance and exit gates at the restricted areas of the port. Furthermore, clearly visible signboards have also been fixed at all the gates of these restricted areas, indicating that it is mandatory for all persons entering the port restricted area to be in possession of a valid access pass. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Commissioner of Police that for the period January to May 2021, 9 cases of access in the restricted area of the port without a valid authorization had been reported by the Port Police as follows. On the 5th of January 2021, 2 cases against Honorable M.E.J. for the offences of entering a port restricted area without a valid access pass and bringing a motor vehicle into a port restricted area without a valid access pass. 25th of January 2021, 2 cases against Mr. D.D. for the offences of entering a port restricted area without a valid access pass and bringing a motor vehicle into a port restricted area without a valid access pass. 9th February 2021, 1 case against Mr. A.R.S. for the offence of bringing a motor vehicle into a port restricted area without a valid access pass. 18th of March 2021, 1 case against Mr. L.J.R. for the offence of entering a port restricted area without a valid access pass. 22nd of March 2021, 1 case against Mrs. B.M.L.V.C. for the offence of entering a port restricted area without a valid access pass. 9th of April 2021, 1 case against Mr. L.W.K. for the offence of entering a port restricted area without a valid access pass. 12th of April 2021, 1 case against Mr. J.J.E. for the offence of entering a port restricted area without a valid access pass. I am further informed by the Commissioner of Police that in accordance with Standing Orders 131 on completion of police enquiries into cases, an officer of the rank of Assistant Superintendent of Police and above may refer the case for prosecution before the court. However, in high-profile cases, it is normal practice for police to seek the advice of the Director of Public Prosecutions. Out of these 9 cases, 3 persons have been fined, each for an amount of 500 rupees plus costs in 3 cases. 4 other cases have been struck out by the court. The remaining 2 cases relate to the Honorable MEJ. As the House is aware, in my reply to parliamentary questions B376 and B1074 at our sitting on 18th of May 2021 and 18th of July 2023, respectively, I informed that on the 5th of January 2021, Honorable MEJ entered with his car into the premises of the SSR container terminal, which is a restricted area of the port, as specified in the schedule of the Restricted Areas Port Area Order 1994, without being in possession of a valid access pass. Mr. Speaker, sir, the SSR container terminal is a multi-purpose facility where cement, black oil, coal, vehicles, general cargo, containers, and inter-island cargoes are handled. Access to these operational areas by unauthorized persons represent a serious security threat. In fact, these 2 cases had been reported by the Port Police for offences in breach of Regulations 226(1)A and B and 252(1) of the Port Operations and Safety Regulations 2005. The offences were: 1. Entering port restricted area without a valid access pass, and bringing motor vehicle into port restricted area without a valid access pass. Regulation 226(1)AB of the Port Operations and Safety Regulations 2005, which stipulates that, and I quote, no person shall A. Subject to paragraph 2, subparagraph 2, enter or remain in any part or of port premises unless he is in possession of a valid pass issued by the authority or in respect of access to any part of the port premises under the control of its license operator by the license operator. And B, bring any vehicle into port premises unless he is in possession of a valid pass issued by the authority with respect to the vehicle, unquote. And I quote Regulation 252, subparagraph 1, which stipulates that, subject to subsection 2, any person who does an act which is prohibited by these regulations or omits or fails or neglects to an act which he is required to do by these regulations or fails or neglects to comply with any lawful order, direction or instruction issued by or on behalf of the port master or the authority under these regulations shall commit an offense and shall on conviction be liable to a fine not exceeding 5,000 rupees and to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 12 months, unquote. Mr. Speaker, sir, in this context, upon completion of the inquiry into these offences, the case file was submitted to the Director of Public Prosecutions with suggestion for prosecution against the Honourable Member. However, on 23rd June 2023, the Director of Public Prosecutions had advised no further action in this matter. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed that security measures in place in the port includes high security fencing to secure the restricted areas, regular patrols in the port area, and regular crackdown operations and checks in collaboration with the Mauritius Revenue Authority, the police, the Mauritius Ports Authority, and other stakeholders. Additional measures have been taken to further reinforce security as follows. A new CCTV camera system comprising 408 cameras is now operational to ensure surveillance over the port area. An intruder alarm system has also been installed in November 2023 at strategic areas to detect any illegal intrusion. Additional fencing has been erected and razor blade fixed in November 2023 along the shoreside at Mauritius Container Terminal, and access to the terminal is jointly controlled by the police and the Cargo Handling Corporation Limited. Furthermore, a new access control system will be operational by early next year. Mr. Speaker, sir, given that the port area is a security restricted area, entering such a restricted area without valid authorization is considered as a very serious offense which warrants exemplary sanction. Nobody has the right to go against the laws of the land. That is the sacrosanct principle that should govern our actions at all times.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Can the Honourable Prime Minister state whether there are official evidences that Honourable MEJ breached the law by entering the port-restricted area without a valid access pass?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Commissioner of Police that on the 5th of January 2021, at about 11:15 hours, following a viewing of the video footage at Cargo Handling Corporation CCTV room by 2 police officers posted at the Port Police Station on the instruction of a Superintendent of Police, also posted at that same station, it was confirmed that car bearing registration number JE602 had access to the new key gate of Sasiusaga Rambulam terminal at 10:45 hours and drove towards key number 3 near Cargo Handling Corporation. It remained there for about 3 minutes and then drove towards the exit gate at 10:52 hours. The driver of the car, Honorable MEJ, had failed to stop at both the entrance and the exit gates for control purposes. One of the police officers also inquired from the Mauritius Port Authority and learned that neither the car nor its driver were issued with the required access pass to enter that port area or any other such restricted area on that date. I am further informed by the Commissioner of Police that the concerned Superintendent of Police corroborated the version of the officers. He also pointed out that on the material date, Honorable MEJ called at the Port Police Headquarters with an unknown lady and a young male person and drew his attention that he had access in the port restricted area at SSR terminal with his car, JE602, without being subjected to control at the gate. However, police inspector present at that moment warned Honorable MEJ that it was an offense to enter the port restricted area without a valid access pass issued by the MPA, and also about a signpost at the entrance gate laying emphasis on restricted access, which Honorable MEJ acknowledged. I am also informed by the Commissioner of Police that a police officer who was earlier on extra duty at the pedestrian gate of New Quay Terminal saw the car JE602 parked alongside Chaussée Trombley Street near Port Police Station. He stopped at the level of the driver and questioned him of the reason of entry at Newgate Terminal and whether he has been issued with an access pass. The driver replied the following, I quote, "Mon même député Echan Jouman. Mon fin rentre dans le port pour check sécurité. Personne pas fin arrête moi." Unquote. That police officer informed Honorable MEJ about the offense to enter the port terminal without an access pass, to which Honorable MEJ replied, I quote, "Moi-même, moi fin vin là pour get ou safe pour faire mon déclaration." Unquote. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is abundantly clear from the information communicated to me that Honorable MEJ had committed an offense, which he acknowledged, and that there are official evidences that he breached the law. Now, there is more than that. These are official, but when I look at what he has stated in his Facebook post dated 5th of January 2021, and I quote, Mr. Speaker, sir, il ne m'a fallu que 5 minutes entre 11h et 11h07 en ce matin du 5 janvier 2021 pour rentrer au port jusqu'à la rade où un navire débarquait du charbon sans que la sécurité ne m'arrête, sachant que je m'exposais à des poursuites. Sachant que je m'exposais à des poursuites, j'ai quand même pris le risque de m'y rendre sans aucun passe. Je suis conscient que j'ai commis une infraction et je suis prêt d'en assumer les conséquences. Unquote. And not only that, Mr. Speaker, sir, he has even the guts to go on to send on radio. He sent an audio recording to the director of a private radio, I won't mention the name, on the 5th of January, whereby he made a statement pertaining to the security aspect at the port. And again, he confessed that he unlawfully entered a restricted port area. Such confessions of Honorable MEJ are in fact, I would say, in defiance of the relevant laws of Mauritius. It is also in defiance of the authorities and institutions of this country. Yet, it has been decided that there would be no prosecution against him, so I leave it to the population to make its own judgment.
Can the Honourable Prime Minister state whether Honourable MEJ publicly confessed that he committed an offence by entering a port-restricted area illegally?
No. Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, I have elaborated on. In fact, Mr. Speaker, sir, when I looked at the case file, because when I look at the case file, all the evidence, I say all, and I'm speaking as a lawyer, they are not only damning, all of them goes in one direction. There is absolutely no contradiction from police officers and other witnesses. And let me say, Mr. Speaker, sir, in my answer, I said, during that period, all the cases were referred to the court. All the cases were prosecuted, except for only one, Honorable Juman. I am stating the facts. This Honorable Boulel doesn't know anything about how I state the facts. I am stating the facts.
Order, Honorable Boulel.
Where's the aspersion?
Honorable EJ. Honorable Satkan Boulel. Honorable EJ.
Honorable Juman has accepted, has confessed. You are saying aspersion.
Honorable Itu.
Thank you, Speaker, sir. Honorable Prime Minister mentioned in his reply that over the year there was 9 cases of illegal access in the port area, and of which 7 were prosecuted and fined. Can the Prime Minister react on the fact that 2 of these cases, of course committed by Honorable MEJ, have not been prosecuted, and does Honorable Prime Minister find this to be normal? Thank you.
Well, as I have said in my answer to supplementary question, I have elaborated. But let me say another thing, Mr. Speaker, sir. I believe that all the citizens of the Republic of Mauritius are equal when it comes to applying the laws of the land. And let me also say that it is with regret that I see in past cases, especially concerning politicians, I see that the DPP have been issuing communiques to explain its decision in relation to politicians and other accused parties. For example, we all know that in the MedPoint Hospital case, where I was targeted, right, the DPP issued a communiqué on the 14th of March 2014 to explain its decision to prosecute in the public interest. There was also a second communiqué with regard to my case, dated the 8th of June 2016, stating as to why the DPP was appealing against a judgment of the Supreme Court to the Privy Council. We don't know what happened afterwards. Another example is the case of STC versus Betamax, where the office of the DPP issued a communiqué on the 4th of June 2019 to state the reason why the DPP is not going ahead with any prosecution against, amongst others, Navin Chandra Ramgulam and Anil Kumar Bechu. There is another case, namely police against Dr. Navin Chandra Ramgulam and two others, where the office of the DPP issued a communiqué on 27th of September 2019 to inform that it advised no further action. There are other communiques, Mr. Speaker, sir. I have a whole list of communiques that have been issued by the DPP in relation to its decision regarding other politicians and other accused parties. But in this case, when the case file was referred to the office of the DPP on 12th of May 2022, and the advice that was tendered on 23rd of June 2023, more than 1 year later, was a mere no further action. That's it.
the table has been advised that PQB 1708, 1710, 1712, 1713, 1714, 1716, 1717, 1718 has been withdrawn. We now move to the next item, question to other ministers. I will now call Honorable Armand.
B 1719.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in my reply to PQ B550 at the sitting of 10th May 2022, I mentioned that the detailed design report for the drain project at Résidence Richelieu was just received from the consultant and was being examined by the NDU, by the engineers of the NDU or my ministry. Mr. Speaker, sir, at that same time, Résidence Richelieu was also identified as one of the localities where government would implement its visionary project regarding the construction of 12,000 residential housing units. The NDU, therefore, had to stay action on the implementation of the drain project until the design concept of the housing unit was finalized. In this respect, a coordinated action was initiated to bring in the several developments in that region in harmony with each other, particularly to, as far as practicable, avoid any abortive works. I'm informed that the new Social Living Development Unit Limited is currently implementing the housing project, and the construction works have already started. In the light of these developments, the NDU on its part reviewed the design of the drain project initially recommended by the consultant. However, in view of the extensive land acquisition required and given the complexity of the project itself, the Land Drainage Authority has entrusted the implementation in 2 phases to the Drains Infrastructure Construction Limited. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed that the current status of the project is as follows. Phase 1. This phase is located downstream the metro line. The draft bidding document for this phase is being prepared, and once finalized, a bidding exercise will be carried out. Concurrently, the procedures for land acquisition is being initiated. And phase 2, this phase is found upstream the metro line. A consultant is being appointed for the design of this phase of the project. Thank you.
Can the Honourable Minister give us a time frame for phase 1 and phase 2 when he intends to implement it?
Mr. Speaker, sir, as I said, the draft bidding document is ready. So we are now in process of the bidding exercise, so that should last, say, another maximum 2 months. And then phase 2, the design is being done currently.
Is the Minister aware that we are approaching the heavy rain seasons and many places in Richelieu suffer from flood-prone area? And can he at least find a temporary solution diverting the existing drain so that these people stop suffering from flooding?
Mr. Speaker, sir, in fact, it's not only Richelieu. In fact, the world itself is suffering from the effect of climate change today. And there's a lot of work being done all around the country. In fact, in Richelieu, there has been quite a few mitigating measures that has been taken, but this won't do the job. As I said, this is public fund. We want to avoid abortive work, and we have to have an holistic approach to this issue. So, as I said, in 2 months' time, we should have a contractor on site, and the work will start.
Honorable Dulab.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, B 1720.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the existing Subramania Bharati Eye Hospital, constructed some 75 years back, is presently accommodated in a building at Mocha, which is not amenable to any upgrading, renovation, and expansion work for further development. The site is small, the immediate vicinity is highly dense, and the access road is narrow. Bed capacity is limited to 68, around 200,000 visits for patients suffering from eye problems all over the island are seen by doctors yearly at the hospital. Around 8,000 cases of cataract surgeries and other specialized ophthalmology treatment are being provided annually. And this figure is expected to increase in forthcoming years, mainly due to our aging and non-communicable diseases. Mr. Speaker, sir, in light of the predicament of the existing Subramania Eye Hospital, my ministry embarked on the construction of a new state-of-the-art eye care hospital on a plot of land of an extent of 7 acres at Réduit Triangle near ICAC headquarters. The main objectives of the project are to improve efficiency in the delivery of healthcare services, make the new eye hospital a regional center of excellence, provide comprehensive eye care to patients under a single roof, and reduce waiting time for eye surgeries. Mr. Speaker, sir, the contract for the construction of the new eye hospital in Mauritius was awarded to Varindira Constructions Limited on 18th July 2022. The project duration is around 18 calendar months, and the contract value is approximately 714.7 million rupees. The project is funded under a grant agreement from Abu Dhabi Fund for Development in February 2019. Hospital Services Consultancy Corporation Limited has been appointed as consultant on this project. Mr. Speaker, sir, as at date, the physical progress of work is around 37% and is expected to be completed by end of 2024.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Can the Honourable Minister provide details pertaining to the scope of works of the new ophthalmology hospital?
Mr. Speaker, sir, the building has a basement and 6 floors building with the basement accommodating the services like laundry, kitchen, the ground floor, the emergency department, diagnostic and minor operating theater, the first floor, the diagnostic and outpatient department, the 2nd to 4th floors, 117 inpatient beds, 5th floor with 4 operating theaters and 6 ICUs, and 6th floor officers of and procedures room, and of course the top floor being the administration.
Honorable Kiran.
B 1721.
Mr. Speaker, sir, with your permission, I would like to seize this opportunity to congratulate all our athletes and para-athletes who have so far qualified for the Paris Olympic and Paralympic Games. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed that the Mauritius Paralympic Committee submitted a request to my ministry on 3rd October 2023 seeking financial assistance for para-athlete RM to acquire a racing wheelchair. My ministry subsequently asked the Mauritius Paralympic Committee some clarifications in order to process the request. I wish to inform the House that in a recent email dated 7 December 2023, the Mauritius Paralympic Committee apprised my ministry that necessary funds were successfully raised for the purchase of the racing wheelchair in favor of para-athlete RM. Thank you.
Président, je peux comprendre que la fédération en question a soumis sa requête, a adressé sa requête officielle à l'honorable ministre le 3 octobre de cette année. Mais dans un passé récent, l'athlète en question, Roberto Michel, a affirmé que cela fait 3 années depuis qu'il a fait une demande, je suppose verbalement au ministre ou à quelqu'un de son ministère, afin qu'on lui procure un fauteuil adéquat pour ses entraînements, ainsi pour qu'il puisse participer à ces compétitions. Donc, peut-on savoir, depuis 3 années, pourquoi le ministère des Sports n'a pas accédé à la requête de Roberto Michel et qu'il a fallu qu'un crowdfunding soit organisé afin qu'il puisse finalement se procurer un fauteuil roulant adéquat et digne de ce nom.
Monsieur le Président, je ne mets pas en doute ce que l'honorablement m'a dit, ni ce que probablement l'athlète aurait dit. Mais comme je l'ai dit dans ma réponse, toute demande, toute requête doit se faire par les fédérations ou ici dans ce cas par le Mauritius Paralympic Committee en écrit. Les fédérations sont au courant qu'à chaque début d'année, il y a des rencontres avec les officiers de mon ministère et il y a des demandes spécifiques sur des formulaires spécifiques en ce qu'il s'agit de training camp, compétition ou équipement. Malheureusement que tant qu'il n'y a pas eu une requête écrite et formelle, le ministère ne peut pas procéder. Donc là, la requête est arrivée que le 3 octobre et nous allions aller de l'avant pour faire le nécessaire. Entre-temps, bon, il y a eu une générosité de la part du public, du privé. On remercie tout le monde d'avoir contribué, que Roberto maintenant a pour acheter son fauteuil.
Question sufficiently canvassed. I move to next question. Honorable Chief.
B 1723.
Yes, Dr. Bulel.
Thank you. B-stroke 1720.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Mauritius Cane Industry Authority, MCIA, that crop 2023 started on 3rd July 2023, and as a date, some 89.14%, representing 2,130,345 tons of cane have already been harvested island-wide as compared to 2,256,806 tons for crop 2022. I am further informed that based on figures available and taking into consideration existing constraints and force majeure in the sector such as climate change, massive cane fire, factory breakdown, shortage of labor, transport, logistics, and mechanized harvest, it is expected that the remaining 10.86% would be harvested by the 3rd week of December 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, no major problem has so far been noted for crop 2023. The MCIA, through its respective departments, namely the Farmers Service Agency, FSA, Control and Arbitration Department, CAD, Mauritius Sugarcane Industry Research Institute, MSIOI, and Agricultural Mechanization Unit, AMU, has been holding regular harvest monitoring committees with representatives from millers and planters since the beginning of harvest 2023 to take stock of the progress of the harvest and to address any arising difficulties. In this context, the MCIA has been providing assistance to the small planters and métayers community as follows. A, allocation of additional lorries in several regions across the island. B, introduction of mechanical loading to facilitate loading in regions such as Marshy Coast and Anse. C, organization of mechanized harvest to address the problem of shortage of labor is being undertaken in collaboration with the Mauritius Cooperative Agricultural Federation Limited, MCAF. It is to be noted that 2021, a total of 5,350 tons of cane had been harvested mechanically as compared to 10,701 tons for crops 2022. Government through MCAF is in the process of procuring 2 additional harvesters adopted to local small planters field. D, planters have been encouraged to use and adopt side loaders in certain new localities such as Britannia, and contracting services have been extended in several regions across the island. And E, the extension of contracting services are being provided by private mechanical cane harvester. Mr. Speaker, sir, with a view to addressing the problem of shortage of labor in the agricultural sector, government will have recourse to foreign labor through job contractors, as announced in Budget 2023-2024. I'm informed that the process is underway for the recruitment of job contractors. Lastly, I wish to inform the House that the cane productivity per hectare as a date for crop 2023 is 21.1% as compared to 57.7% for crop 2022.
I thank the Honourable Minister for his prompt reply and quite extensive reply. Now, in relation to the 2 mechanical harvesters, will the Minister be able to tell us when will these be acquired and whether he can also give guarantee that there will be less cane in the sugar in the field for this crop year?
Yes, sir. As I already mentioned in my reply, Mr. Speaker, sir, we are left with only 10.86% for harvest. As I said, the MCAF is already in the process of procuring 2 additional harvesters, and I think latest by next year we are going to have it, and maybe this will help to improve to harvest a bit quicker, as we are actually facing difficulties, as I mentioned earlier, due to climate change and several other factors.
I know the Honourable Minister listed a number of measures being taken. Will he be able to tell us in more concrete terms as to what is being done in a meaningful and effective manner to rehabilitate sugarcane fields which are being abandoned?
Well, it is one of our priority as government. There are actually, Mr. Speaker, sir, we have around 10,000 hectares which are abandoned, and we already acquired machinery like a bulldozer to expedite the request from planters to mechanize the field. And I can say that up till now, we have 631 hectares signed under agricultural land and management system. There are about 250 hectares which will be planted in ground season. So provision is being made for cane sets also for cane replantation. So I think that abundant land is being tackled, and as from next crop season, we are going to have less abundant land.
B 1723.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed that the Sir Sivasagar Amgulam National Hospital parking facilities are provided to patients, visitors, ambulances, government vehicles, and staff within the hospital premises. Over the years, a number of projects have been implemented to create additional parking facilities at the hospital, and in addition to the parking space behind the State Bank branch located in the premises of the hospital, other sites were upgraded to facilitate patients and visitors attending the hospital. In order to address the inadequate parking facilities at SSRN Hospital, recently my ministry has taken the following actions. First, in May 2023, a project consisting of towering works was implemented by MNI-CD, following which around 40 additional parking spaces were made available. The green area near the mortuary was also upgraded so that the public may use as parking space. 30 more parking slots were created at the back of the wards to facilitate movement of patients to the chemotherapy units and other wards. A request was sent to Polytechnics Mauritius to put at the disposal of SSR Hospital of their parking slot. However, the request was not acceded as Polytechnics Pamplemousseuse is operating in full capacity. Mr. Speaker, sir, to further address the issue of inadequate parking facilities at SSR Hospital, my ministry is in process of having consultations with the relevant authorities to seek additional parking plots for parking, obviously, and for new projects.
Are there any budgetary allocations or plans to allocate funds specifically dedicated to improve and expanding these parking facilities?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. In fact, Mr. Speaker, sir, we should say that due to the recent good economic progress of the country, everyone is coming by car to the hospital, from attendants to specialists to administrators. So there are more than 1,000 staff working at the hospital, and to make parkings available for everybody, even patients coming to outpatients department are coming by their cars to hospital. So it's very tight to manage parking, to provide parking for everybody. Now, at the same time, I believe Honourable Member knew very well that the government will continue with the project of extending the metro to the north. And obviously, this will facilitate people using the metro to come to the hospital, and that also, to a big extent, will reduce the need for more parking facilities.
MP Amiamia.
B1724.
Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to Part A of the question, contracts effective from 1st July 2021 were awarded through Central Procurement Board procedures to RSL Security Services Limited, secured contracts for regions 1, 2, and 3 with a contract value of 42.6 million for first year and 44.3 million for second year. Top Security Service Limited was awarded the contract for region 4 amounting to 14.6 million yearly for both year 1 and year 2. Edmond Security Services secured a contract for region 5 with a yearly value of 20.5 million for both year 1 and year 2. Initially, these contracts were for 1 year and were renewable for an additional year based on satisfactory service. As at 30th June 2023, with the expiration of all contracts and awaiting new contracts to be awarded, extension on a monthly basis were granted for all existing contracts under the same terms and conditions, except for Region 2, due to reported poor performance. A bidding exercise for Region 2 resulted in the contract being awarded to Top Security Service Limited with a monthly contract price of 2.5 million rupees, valid until the completion of the Central Procurement Board's procurement exercise. I have been informed that as of the current date, the evaluation of bids has been completed at the Central Procurement Board and necessary actions have been initiated for the submission of papers to the board for approval, to be followed by the award of the contract. In reply to Part B of the question, payments were made based on monthly returns submitted by the hospital following the monitoring criteria outlined in the contract. Monthly deductions as per penalty clauses were applied. I'm hereby presenting the terms and conditions of the contract for security services. General duties of security personnel. The security service is tasked with protecting the assets identified in the bid document from incidents of fire, theft, trespass, intrusion, vandalism, and property damage, and/or any other incidents that may result in a breach of security service. Typical duties include general guarding, frequent patrols in the compound, entry and access control, preventing unauthorized access to premises, and controlling the identity of visitors. Other duties encompass submitting daily operating reports, recording movements of incoming and outgoing vehicles, directing visitors to officers, wards, units, checking vehicles in the presence of drivers, and securing internal and external doors, windows, openings, gates, padlocks, and other property in the compound. Guards are also responsible for performing random checks on persons, vehicles, leaving the compound in case of high suspicion, answering telephone or radio calls, safekeeping of keys, informing promptly in case of fire or flooding, reporting any abnormal occurrence to the hospital administrators, preventing access to hawkers in the hospital premises, not allowing deliveries without the consent of the officer in charge, scrutinizing all areas of operation for ODs, checking perimeter fencing regularly, ensuring compliance with no smoking policies, and performing any other duty related to security or as directed. Penalties include late attendance, failure to sign the attendance register on arrivals and/or departure, no proper handover after the shift, absenteeism from the post without replacement, leaving earlier without replacement, leaving the site unattended, tampering with the attendance book, vandalism, tampering with existing facilities, assets, and equipment or services on the premises, drinking alcoholic drinks on or prior to the assumption of duty, smoking on site, and misconduct or inconsiderate behavior.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Security services in public health institution has been severely criticized by the Director of Audit in his last audit report as at 30th June 2022. Therefore, can I ask the Honourable Minister, despite the poor performance of contractor A since 2015, as mentioned in its report, why did the Ministry opted for a month-to-month renewal of the contract for 6 years until 2021 And when tender was relaunched, still the same contractor won the award by 51% of the check of the contract value up to now.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I stated it in my reply. The conditions for bidding exercise, for reporting what the security services haven't performed, and it's all under the Central Procurement Board to decide when and how to allot contracts. So this is not under the purview of the ministry because these contracts are dealt at the Central Procurement Board.
So we move to the next question now. No, whether you finish, not finish, you may have 50 questions. Please, my point, you don't have 2 questions. No, you don't. Show me your book where you have 2 questions. Show me your standing order. This is a copy of the standing. Show me where you have 2 questions. I have ruled. The minister has replied extensively. And don't argue with me. Don't argue, I'm talking to the House. The House should know that the minister has canvassed this question extensively. It's my right. My right is we put a halt. Next question.
B1725.
Monsieur le Président, la Workers' Rights Act a été modifiée par la loi de finances de 2023 pour exiger qu'un employeur employant plus de 250 travailleurs fournisse gratuitement aux travailleurs des installations de garde d'enfants, soit dans les locaux du lieu de travail, soit à une distance d'1 kilomètre du lieu de travail. Cette facilité, qui a pour but de faciliter la vie des parents actifs et encourager la présence des femmes sur le marché du travail, s'applique aux enfants âgés de moins de 3 ans. D'après les informations fournies par la MRA, 180 entreprises comptant 250 travailleurs ou plus sont concernées par cette mesure. Toutefois, un certain nombre de questions opérationnelles doivent être abordées pour une mise en œuvre harmonieuse de cette mesure. Étant donné que ces questions sont transversales et impliquant plusieurs parties prenantes, un comité de coordination a été mis en place au niveau de mon ministère, composé de représentants du ministère du Travail, du Développement des ressources humaines et de la formation, du ministère de l'égalité des genres et du bien-être familial et du secteur privé. Il a pour objectif d'examiner ces questions et de formuler les recommandations appropriées. Monsieur le Président, les questions qui ont été identifiées à ce stade et qui doivent être traitées sont notamment les suivantes. S'assurer que toutes les crèches soient conformes aux normes et standards prescrits. Réaliser un exercice de cartographie afin d'avoir une meilleure visibilité sur les crèches enregistrées disponibles dans les régions où les entreprises concernées sont implantées. S'accorder sur la préparation et la publication de lignes directrices informatives sur les procédures de mise en place et d'exploitation de crèches ou de garderies sur le lieu de travail ou à proximité de celui-ci, et définir le traitement des entreprises ayant plusieurs sites d'activité, les crèches les plus proches étant situées à plus d'1 kilomètre, les entreprises ayant des équipes de nuit et autres. D'ici janvier 2024, le ministère va statuer sur ces sujets pour la mise en place de cette mesure budgétaire. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président. Étant donné que les besoins des bébés varient selon leur tranche d'âge, comme l'a si bien dit le ministre peut-il indiquer si la gestion de ces crèches sera confiée à des prestataires externes et qui assurera la supervision de ces structures? Et rassurez-nous, Monsieur le ministre, qu'il ne s'agira pas du ministère de l'égalité du genre qui éprouve des difficultés à gérer son unique...
I stop you there. You can't do this demagogy in this house. This is doing politics with questions. You can't prevent a minister from giving the responsibility to another minister. This is something the executive takes care of. You are from the legislative. Stop there. I don't know if the minister would reply to this question. Make sure you have a good question. No demagogy, no politics.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président. Le ministre pourrait-il indiquer à la Chambre quelles logistiques sont prévues pour ces entreprises pour faciliter le transport des bébés par les parents utilisant les transports en commun pour se rendre au travail?
Monsieur le Président, c'est pour cela que nous avons mis en place ce comité de coordination, pour se poser toutes les bonnes questions avant la mise en place de cette mesure. Très bonne question de la part de l'honorable membre. On va l'étudier et on va mettre en place les mesures appropriées pour l'implémentation de cette mesure.
Next question, MP Gangapal. No, don't do that. MP Gangapal should be given the floor first.
B 1726.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to inform the House that the 72 students of extended program who were promoted to grade 10 in 2023 are being closely followed and provided with the required support to help them in their studies. Mr. Speaker, sir, however, I firmly believe that it would not be ethical nor proper for the Ministry to request for individual results of students from schools and disclosing information about the progress of these students in the Assembly, making it public, which would be tantamount to stigmatizing them. The perception of them being considered as weak students is damaging to their self-esteem as well as their educational progress. Mr. Speaker, sir, the House may rest assured that the follow-up is being done and measures deemed appropriate are being taken where necessary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. We congratulate the students who have succeeded and moved to grade 10. And since your ministry must be doing a very close monitoring, Honourable Minister, may I ask you how many of them have successfully completed their grade 10 to move to grade 11 in January 2024?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I have just mentioned in my reply that I do not consider it to be proper for the Ministry to request for individual results of students from grade 10 to grade 11. Where should we stop, Mr. Speaker, sir? Should we carry on this way? I do believe that the Quality Assurance Department of the Ministry and that of the PSCA are doing the follow-up.
I move to the sufficient, but I move to the next question. Honorable Boda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. 1727.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to inform the House that further to a meeting held with the professional events organizers on the 17th of July 2023, I was made aware of major constraints being faced by them for the organization of musical concerts. These constraints relate mainly to the following issues. Firstly, delay in the obtention of various clearances and permits from various institutions prior to the holding of events, as there are several types of clearances that need to be sought and obtained. These clearances are as follows: permit regarding venue to hold the event, clearance from the district or the municipal council, clearance from MAZA, clearance from Mauritius Fire and Rescue Services, insurance cover for artists, clearance from Ministry of Health and Wellness for sound, clearance from Ministry of Environment, Solid Waste Management and Climate Change, and lastly, clearance from the Commission of Police. Other constraints mentioned by the representative of organizers also include absence of a dedicated venue for the holding of outdoor live events involving local and international artists, which can accommodate an audience varying in the range of 500 to 15,000 persons. Also, the rental costs for the hiring of existing venues being on the very high side, taking into account the other costs for the organizers, such as logistics and marketing, and also noise level limitations prescribed under the Environment Protection Control of Noise Regulations 2022 and the Environment Protection Environmental Standards for Noise Regulations 2022. Mr. Speaker, sir, in light of the above, representations made by the event organizers. My ministry held consultations with the Commissioner of Police, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and the Ministry of Environment, Solid Waste Management and Climate Change in a bid to providing a fast-track service for obtention of permits and clearances. It has been proposed to set up a one-stop shop for the examination and processing of applications for permits and clearances for the holding of concerts by event organizers. I wish to highlight that on the 4th of December 2023, a meeting was held under the chair of the Prime Minister with all the concerned stakeholders and institutions to take stock of the situation. The Prime Minister instructed that the technical committee be set up to finalize the terms of reference of the one-stop shop, as well as to look into the representations by the community of artists and promoters. This is a clear proof, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the creative sector, including the organization of cultural events, is being taken at the highest level, and follow-up is being ensured by this technical committee.
Thank you. May I ask the Honourable Minister whether he is aware of the damage done to the reputation of Mauritius in the international scene as a venue for international artists after the cancellation of some of the events? And may I ask him how many concerts were cancelled?
Mr. Speaker, sir, I will, of course, not have this information about number of concerts being cancelled. It is apposite to note that the Ministry of Arts and Cultural Heritage does not issue any clearances or permits for the holding of concerts. The list of those institutions concerned with organization of concerts have been listed, so I think it would be better for, if Honourable Member wishes to have more information, to put a separate question so that I can come up with additional information on this matter.
You still have one? Go ahead.
In view of the fact that the livelihood of the artist, is concerned, may I ask the Honourable Minister whether his ministry can facilitate the organization of such concerts, because, as I said, it's a question of the international reputation of Mauritius as a venue for artist participation in Mauritius.
Of course, Mr. Speaker, sir. Not just the reputation of Mauritius, but also the livelihood of artists, and not just artists, but all those concerned with the creative sector. This is an ecosystem which is being spoken about, ranging from artists on scene with all those who are concerned with the organization behind the scene. So we are very much concerned with the creative sector. And as I said, the Prime Minister himself has chaired a meeting with stakeholders to make sure that we expedite matters and come up in the first instance with this one-stop shop that would considerably débloquer la situation actuelle et assurer que les organisateurs puissent organiser des événements culturels with much ease and facility.
Honourable Hassan Mohamed, absent. MP Navar Marie.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, sir, paragraph 135 of the Government Programme 2020-2024 aims to consolidate the family unit and family values as a fundamental pillar of our society. My ministry accordingly introduced the Programme d'accompagnement des familles in December 2020 to implement sustained programs at community level with a view to reinforcing family ties through communication and conflict resolution techniques. This program also aims to strengthen individuals and communities by enhancing family values, by improving ethics and character education, while at the same time equipping individuals with appropriate tools to enhance communication and improve human relationships. So far, Mr. Speaker, sir, 150 participants have benefited from the program, which is carried out with the collaboration of an internationally recognized institution. It is envisaged to enlist 30 additional couples in the program for the year 2023
2024, Mr. Speaker, sir, I also wish to highlight that programs of similar nature are also provided by my ministry. For example, the premarital counseling program, there is the marital marriage enrichment program, which are conducted to achieve our government's vision in consolidating the family unit and family values. Furthermore, my ministry is also implementing the intergeneration relationship program with an objective at building a strong relationship between children, parents and grandparents through communication and experience sharing. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Will the Honourable Minister provide a list of venues where these accompagnements are taking place?
I'll be very happy to do so, and as I've just mentioned in my first reply, Mr. Speaker, sir, we are looking at extending these programs to more areas and more districts across the island.
We move to next question. MP Omia.
B1730. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed that exposure to asbestos can lead to cases of pneumoconiosis with asbestosis, pleural plague with asbestosis, tuberculosis with asbestosis, and mesothelioma, cancer which is often the result of excessive exposure to asbestos. As per available records, there have been 10 diagnosed cases of suspected mesothelioma for the past 8 years, out of which 9 cases were found in male patients and 1 in a female patient. Diagnosis is made on anatomical pathology, results from biopsy conducted on patients. Moreover, an in-depth investigation is carried out to look for the risk of asbestos exposure. Mr. Speaker, sir, in reply to part A of the question, asbestos can cause a number of serious diseases which are most pleural and pulmonary. There is no treatment that can reverse the damage done by asbestos, but certain steps can help slow down progression of the disease and relieve symptoms, namely avoiding further exposure to asbestos and other irritants such as cigarette smoke will help slow down the disease from progressing. Chemotherapy in cases of cancer, oxygen therapy may be prescribed, pulmonary rehabilitation may be offered to help patients with chronic lung conditions maintain optimum activity levels, and in very severe situations, lung transplant may be recommended as an option. Mr. Speaker, sir, in reply to part B of the question, any patient who has contracted a disease caused by exposure to asbestos will be referred to the chest clinic for palliative care and support. On the other hand, cancer patients are referred to the oncology department.
Thank you. Can the Honourable Minister confirm whether the Occupational Health Department of his ministry has conducted a health risk assessment of certain public buildings as per the Addison report, since very recently there has been a case of an officer working at the Mauritius Police Force who has been working there for 25 years and has recently been diagnosed as cancer related to asbestos. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I don't think the mandate of the occupational and health safety officers are to conduct surveys, but I think this is a point that we have to do some kind of surveys to find out whether there is a direct correlation between those who've been infected with asbestos and those buildings where they are working.
Thank you. Will his ministry consider assisting the medical financial burden, especially of those recently diagnosed with asbestos-related cancer, particularly in the search and need for PET scan and additional chemotherapeutic drugs which are not available, unfortunately, in the public hospital?
Mr. Speaker, sir, any patients who are attending the public hospital, whenever the recommendation is that the treatment should be given in Mauritius or the drugs should be prescribed in Mauritius, the ministry, the government takes the responsibilities of purchasing the drugs. But it all depends upon the recommendation of the treating doctors. So it's not correct to say that the drugs are not available. Ministry always make avail in case these drugs are needed to treat patients.
MP Bélanger. B1731.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the Solid Waste Management Division of my ministry is responsible for the development and operation of the engineered sanitary landfill at Mauritius for the safe disposal of waste. The facility has been developed in a phased manner with the first cell, that is cell 1, which having been constructed and operated as from 1997, and then extended in a phased manner into successive adjoining cells to reach a total area of about 50 hectares, whereby more than 10 million tons of waste has been safely disposed of as at date. Mr. Speaker, sir, with a view to avoiding a situation whereby there would have been no disposal capacity at the Mauritius landfill, entailing a collapse of the entire waste management system with dire consequences of human health and environment, it was decided to have recourse to vertical expansion works as no land was available for lateral expansion of the landfill. Government approval to go ahead with the landfill vertical expansion project was obtained on the 15th of December 2017. In the meanwhile, short-term measures were taken to optimize creation of void space at the landfill to avoid any disruption in waste disposal. Mr. Speaker, sir, following government approval, a consultancy contract for the design and preparation of bidding documents for vertical expansion works, leachate treatment plant, and other measures for increasing disposal capacity of the Mauritius landfill, and supervision of works and operations was awarded to COWI AS in association with Lux Consult Mauritius Limited on the 28th of December 2018 for the contract sum of €942,281 and €15,996,180 rupees, excluding VAT. The consultancy contract explicitly included the preparation of a feasibility study for the vertical expansion works prior to the preparation of design and bidding documents for the works operations. In December 2018, the contract for the vertical expansion, the contract for consultancy for the vertical expansion was awarded, including the feasibility study. In February 2019, the consultant submitted the first report with different options, and following discussions with officers of my ministry, the consultant submitted the final report in July 2019. The report provided assurances on the capability of the existing landfill to undergo the expansion works, and a conceptual design was accordingly prepared in the report. Mr. Speaker, sir, furthermore, geotechnical investigations were conducted by the firm Water Research Company Limited on site from 14th June 2019 to 28th of August 2019. Following these on-site investigations, testing of materials was undertaken in foreign laboratories in South Africa. The geotechnical report was submitted on the 13th of January 2020, whereby analysis of the soil test results indicated the need for ground improvement below the gabion wall foundation in view to improving bearing capacity at the base. The consultant recommended ground improvement in the form of rigid inclusions. Mr. Speaker, sir, accordingly, a detailed design report for the vertical expansion works was submitted in June 2020 and took into consideration the feasibility report and geotechnical investigations. It covered the different elements of the project, ranging from the civil engineering works, encompassing the slanted gabion wall with foundation improvement works, removal of existing landfill cover, laying of new covers, access roads, landfill gas works, leachate management works to operational aspects aspects of the facility based on performance specifications and an indicated sequence of land feeding, amongst others. The report was underpinned by the necessary design assumptions, calculations, and geotechnical modeling. Mr. Speaker, sir, moreover, my ministry prepared an EIA to the project. The report highlighted all potential impacts of the vertical expansion works, and mitigating measures were proposed thereat. Environmental aspects studied in the report included land use, surface water, groundwater, on-site noise and vibration, air quality, ecology, traffic, socio-economic, as well as cultural aspects. The recommendation of the EIA was that the proposed vertical expansion of the landfill within the existing site was imperative, as it was the only realistic and most environmentally beneficial waste disposal option available for the time being. It was also recommended that the terms and conditions of the contract for vertical expansion works and operation of the landfill include requirements for performing and monitoring the environmental and social protection measures as proposed in the report. An EIA license was issued by the Department of Environment on the 8th of December 2021. All the reports and the design for the proposed vertical expansion indicated that the Marsh Eco's landfill will remain the sole site for disposal for an additional 10 years or more. Mr. Speaker, sir, to conclude, the vertical expansion of the Marsh Eco landfill development has emerged as a necessity to make up for the lack of disposal capacity for the coming years, and also to ensure the transition towards a more sustainable waste management system where circular economy will be given more prominence. My ministry has scrupulously followed all the necessary procedures to ensure the preparation of a technically and environmentally sound vertical expansion project. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am tabling a copy of the feasibility study report, the geotechnical investigation report, and the detailed design report.
Pour soulager le site de Marchicose, qui est quasiment saturé, comme le ministre a fait mention lui-même, peut-il nous dire quand est-ce que sera implémentée la collecte sélective du tri des déchets pour soulager davantage le site, d'autant plus qu'on sait que 60% des déchets qui vont à Marchicose sont des déchets organiques qui pourraient être utilisés pour faire du compost et par la suite utilisés comme fertilisant dans les champs. Merci.
Oui, Monsieur le Président. Donc, effectivement, comme moi-même je l'ai dit, dans cette auguste assemblée, c'est qu'il est temps pour nous de passer de l'économie linéaire à l'économie circulaire. C'est dans cette optique que nous avons déjà construit 3 déchetteries, notamment dans la région de la Chaumière, la Laura et aussi Poudre d'Or. Donc là nous sommes en pourparlers pour la construction d'une autre déchetterie dans la région de Rosebel. Monsieur le Président, ces déchetteries seront construites dans l'optique principalement d'accueillir les déchets qui sont généralement pas ramassés par le service de la voirie des collectivités locales, notamment les district councils et aussi les différentes municipalités. Monsieur le Président, je dois aussi ajouter que c'est notre même optique de ce passage de l'économie linéaire à l'économie circulaire. Mon ministère est en train d'évaluer, et là nous sommes en train de commencer les négociations avec les prospective bidders en ce qui concerne l'installation des compost plantes et aussi les centres de tri. L'honorable membre a parfaitement raison de dire que selon une étude de caractérisation qui a été faite il y a quelques années de cela, 50 à 60% des déchets qui sont enfouis à Marchicose, ce sont des déchets compostables. Environ 24% de ces déchets sont considérés comme des déchets recyclables et il y a environ 14% de déchets plastiques. Et là, je dois dire qu'avec les pourparlers qui sont en voie de finalisation, nous sommes très confiants que l'année prochaine, nous serons en mesure de concrétiser ce projet qui nous tient à cœur, c'est-à-dire l'installation, la construction d'un centre de compostage et aussi d'un centre de tri pour les déchets secs.
En réponse à la question B1658, la semaine dernière, il avait été fait mention de rapports qui sont soumis sur une base régulière par le contracteur et les consultants chargés de la supervision de Marchicose. Le ministre peut-il nous dire s'il pourrait faire le nécessaire pour que ces rapports soient publiés sur le site du ministère, plus précisément sous la section Solid Waste Management Division, s'il vous plaît.
Monsieur le Président, donc oui, effectivement, que ce soit en ce qui concerne le Environmental Monitoring of Groundwater, Surface Protection, que ce soit aussi en ce qui concerne toute cette question d'infiltration de leachate, risque d'infiltration de leachate et aussi les risques éventuels de fire outbreak. Je dois dire que pas mal de dispositions ont été prises, que ce soit par le contracteur, que ce soit aussi par le ministère. Oui, donc bon, bien sûr, une fois que les rapports seront mis à notre disposition, et donc je vais m'assurer qu'un updated report soit mis à la disposition de l'Assemblée.
Honorable Abbas Mohamed.
Thank you, Speaker. B1732.
Mr. Speaker, sir, since August 2021, a spine unit has been officially inaugurated at Victoria Hospital to treat patients needing spine surgery in the Republic of Mauritius. The spine unit, though being a relatively new unit, a new specialized unit, provides an adequate modern infrastructure and clinical expertise to treat patients with complex spinal pathologies, including spinal trauma, spinal tumors, deformities, infections, and degenerative spinal conditions and scoliosis. It may also make use of advanced technology and is equipped with a magnetic resonance imaging and a computed tomography scan for enhanced specialized medical treatment. Mr. Speaker, sir, as regards comparative analysis on spine surgery in public hospitals, the House may wish to note that the spine unit at Victoria Hospital operates as a referral center whereby the majority of cases have complications or referred thereto. On average, some 150 spinal surgical procedures are carried out annually at Victoria Hospital. Moreover, complex spinal surgeries of scoliosis can only be performed in the spine unit, as facilities for such procedures are not available in private health institutions. Mr. Speaker, sir, the House may also recall that previously patients suffering from spinal pathologies were sent abroad to India so that they could undergo operations which on average costed government around 1.6 million rupees for deformity cases and around 1 million for routine spinal cases per patient. Since the official launching of the spine unit, 330 cases of scoliosis have been performed. Since 2015, training was carried out and interventions were initiated with the assistance of Professor Martin. Mr. Speaker, sir, my ministry has also enlisted the services of a foreign consultant, that is Professor Martin, who is in charge of the spine unit at the National University Hospital Copenhagen in Denmark in the setting up of the new spine unit. The latter has not only carried out operations on several local patients in Mauritius, but has also trained local health professionals. 4 specialists have also obtained training free of charge in Denmark with Professor MG, who is currently in Mauritius and is providing treatment to patients with severe deformities. It's also worth noting, highlighting that patients having various complications after being operated in the private health institution attended spine unit at Victoria Hospital, and in most cases the indications for surgical procedures for these patients were not very clear and had to be reviewed by the team of the spine unit. Professor Martin and his team had therefore to reoperate these patients. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to reiterate the commitment in providing quality health care services, including advanced medical procedures free of charge to the population. And here, as a note of, just to mark that when these professors do come to Mauritius, and it is our duty to thank them through be it a dinner or any way, because these professors has been contributed a lot, not only to the patient, but also to the training of the doctors and the nursing officers in Mauritius.
Members, I'll suspend the sitting for 1 hour and a half.